Hey, y'all. I'm Mary.
I'm Christina.
And this is
True Crime Down Yonder. Hey everybody, welcome back.
Welcome back for the second time this week.
Yeah, it's not often that we put out 2 episodes this close together, but hey.
Yeah, we figured we'd throw a little extra in.
Yeah.
I guess. So anything new in the true crime world?
Not that I can think of. Maybe they're probably somewhere, but
yeah,
nothing that pops out right now.
Yeah.
Except for, of course, missing summer wells and
all that redneck bullshit behind it. Yeah.
Yeah, all that's going on behind it. Anyway, no, I can't think of any business that we have to discuss. Don't think so.
Alrighty. Well, I guess aside that, let's dive on in.
Yeah, let's get into the case.
So you are covering our case this week.
That's right, I am. Okay, so this week I am covering the disappearance of Heather Elvis.
Oh.
This occurred not too long ago, so we're out of the dark ages with our
We're
stories.
out of the 90s and
we're
the
out
1900s.
of like the 50s, yeah. So this actually happened in 2013, and it happened in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Okay.
Which, Myrtle Beach is
like
pretty
a tourist
big tourist area. Yeah, it's like right there on the beach. But from what I watched getting research out of this, because I don't think I've ever been to Myrtle Beach.
I don't recall us ever going.
I don't think so. But, like right there on the ocean, there's this big tourist area.
Like a strip?
Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, but, just that, right there on the coast, that's like where the tourists go.
Yeah.
But then, you go a little further inland and it's just kind of like small town USA.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So just, small towns, local people. Inward a little bit in Horry County, South Carolina, there is this place called Peachtree Landing, and it's a boat landing, and it's in this really remote, desolate location. It's kind of like a swamp.
Okay.
Yeah, they said there's like snakes and alligators and all kinds of shit in there.
Not going there.
Yeah, definitely not. So I guess during the day, it gets kind of busy because people are out there doing water sports, boating or kayaking or whatever. But at night, hardly anybody goes to this area because it's creepy and scary, and it's like poorly lit, and the only people that really go out there not at night are like teenagers trying to make out or do what they do.
Does it just look creepy, or is there like is it a bad area at town at night? I
don't know as far as crime. It's a swamp.
I don't know. It's a tourist town too, so.
Yeah, I'm sure they got like drug dealing alligators out there. So on December 19th, 2013, police get a phone call about a suspicious vehicle being parked at Peachtree Landing. And by this time, this vehicle had been there for over 24 hours. So Horry County police officer Kenneth Canterbury responds to the call, and he goes out there to check it out. So when he arrives out there, he finds a green Dodge Intrepid parked oddly in their little parking area. And so it's taking up like 3 parking spots.
Double parking like an asshole.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. But I mean, it's not like even parked completely horizontally. It's just weird. It's like they came when nobody was there and they didn't really care how they parked.
Yeah.
So he checks out the car, and he notices that the car's completely locked, but he doesn't see anything really out of the ordinary. I mean, the car's not wrecked. There's no sign of it being broken into. There's no sign of a struggle or anything like that. He looks inside with his flashlight, and it's a little messy, but again, there's just nothing that would indicate that something had occurred out there.
Right.
So he runs the plates, and they come back registered to a man named Terry Elvis. Well, Officer Canterbury is familiar with Terry Elvis because Terry ran a printing company in town.
Okay.
So he goes out to the Elvis's home, and he knocks on the door, and Debbie Elvis, Terry's wife, responds, and he asks Debbie if they are missing any cars. Well, she kind of looks out in the driveway, and she says, no, they're all there. And then he says, well, we found a green Dodge Intrepid. And by this time, Terry's come to the door and he says that's Heather's car.
Mm.
Terry rides out to Peachtree Landing with Officer Canterbury to check out the car.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Debbie Elvis immediately starts calling her oldest daughter, Heather, who is by this time 20 years old and no longer lives at home.
Okay.
So she's calling Heather's phone and it is going straight to voicemail, which is really odd because Debbie Elvis said that Heather constantly had her phone on her and she never let it die. Like she would start freaking out even if it got to like 30%. So she found it really strange that all her calls were just going straight to voicemail. Well, anyway, like I said, Terry Elvis rides out to Peachtree Landing with Officer Canterbury and they get out to the car and Terry looks around in the car, and when he looks in the car, of course he sees that the car is messy and there's like a social security card laying in there. There's like a huge canvas, like some artwork, and there's a bunch of clothes and just a bunch of stuff.
Like it was messy from like
Yeah, it
it
was
being
messy.
Disorganized. Like,
Right,
not
it's like
somebody
somebody's
been
kind of like
shoving-
living out their car, you know?
Okay, yeah.
So, but, you know, Officer Canterbury asked him if there was anything weird about it, and Terry Elvis says no, like that was just Heather. She was just kind of messy, and she just always had a lot of stuff in her car.
Yeah, I can relate.
Yeah. Officer Canterbury says, okay, let's go pop the trunk. So they pop the trunk and they go to the back, and Terry Elvis is terrified to open this trunk.
I bet. I
Yeah.
bet you his heart's racing.
So they open the trunk and they look inside, and it's the same as the car. It's just filled with a bunch of Heather's stuff. I mean, she has
Okay.
clothes, old purses, makeup, all, you know, stuff that a 20-year-old girl would have.
But does
But
it seem
nothing
like
weird.
no signs of anything?
No, nothing
Okay.
out of the ordinary. And Terry kind of just thinks that the car has been stolen. Well, Terry drives the car back to his house, which means that there was nothing mechanically wrong with it that would
Right.
cause her to have to abandon the car there.
Right.
Meanwhile, of course, her mother's trying to get in touch with her, and they never get a hold of Heather. Her phone just goes straight to voicemail. So the next day, they do report her missing. Well, the Elvises had last seen Heather on December 17th, 2013, which was 2 days before. She had come to their house to pick up some mail, and they even got a short little video of her during this time. You know, she was kind of like standing by the Christmas tree, laughing and joking around. Well, she didn't stay long, and she told her mom that she had to leave because she had a date and she had to get ready. So Debbie Elvis asked Heather, who's the guy, and Heather just said, oh, it's just a new guy. So later on that night, Terry Elvis received a text message from Heather, and it included a pic of her driving a truck.
Okay.
She sent a message that said, proud of me, I can drive a stick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she was learning how to drive an automatic or a manual transmission vehicle.
Yeah. That's like a cute little thing to have with your dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So let's tell you a little bit about Heather. She is the middle child, born on June 30th, 1993. She has an older brother named Chris. He's about 10 years older than her, and a younger sister named Morgan, who looks almost just like her. And Morgan's about 4 years younger than Heather, so she's the middle child. She graduated high school in 2011, and when she graduated with her cosmetology license, because I guess the high school had like a vocational program.
Yeah.
She wanted to work in cosmetology. She wanted to do hair and makeup, and everybody said she had a real talent for it. Her mother, Debbie, said that Heather could look at someone and just be able to pick out whatever colors would go best for them, like their hair color, their makeup color. She had a real talent for it. And she was described as being bubbly and outgoing and outspoken, and also very creative. She loved to draw. She loved to do art. Physically, she was short, kind of petite. She had like reddish brown hair and brown eyes. Her sister Morgan said, quote, if you could sum her up in a color, it would be yellow. If you could sum her up in a flower, it would be a field. Heather, at some point, started to kind of butt heads with her parents. You know, she was seeking her independence. And so
Yeah.
she moved out at the age of 18 and moved in with her friend, Brianna Colzer. She got a job working at the Tilted Kilt as a hostess. Have you ever been to a Tilted Kilt?
No, I haven't. But isn't that like where it's like Scottish?
Not authentic Scottish
Yeah,
Irish, but
but-
yeah. So, I mean, I've never actually been to one, but from what I understand, they pretty much serve like
Like a Hooters type
pub
thing?
food, you know, like bar food, wings, burgers,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But they have like really pretty girls working out front as the hostesses and the waitresses, and they wear like these little short, kilts. They're like tartan kilts, and they're really short, and they have like a tartan bra and then a white shrug over top of it, like a tie-up shirt.
Have you ever been to one?
I've never actually been to one. There's one in Clarksville. I've always kind of wanted to go.
We should go.
Yeah, maybe one day, yeah. But they can't find Heather. So, of course, they're going to start looking into Heather's date on the night of December 17th. So, this is a 22-year-old man by the name of Stephen Schiraldi. He is a line cook at the Wicked Tuna.
The Wicked Tuna?
Yeah, that's my stripper name. He had gone to high school with Heather, but they didn't really know each other well. So he hits her up on social media and slides into the DMs and asks her out on a date. So when they talked to Stephen Schiraldi, he said that night that him and Heather went out, they went to a Mexican restaurant in Myrtle Beach. And then they went to an empty mall parking lot so he could teach her how to drive his manual transmission truck. Mm-hmm. And this is where she sends that picture to Terry Elvis.
Okay.
Then they went back to his house that he shared with his mom, and they watched a movie, and then he took her home. When he got to her apartment, he went in for just a few minutes. Mm-hmm. She gave him a tour, and they made out like on the porch. And then he went home and stayed the rest of the night.
Okay.
So police talked to Schiraldi's mom, and she confirms that that they were at her house, but that he had taken Heather home. He had come back a few minutes later, and he stayed there for the rest of the night. And the two had made plans to see each other the next day when he got off from work.
Okay.
So after he had gotten home, he had exchanged a few text messages with Heather and made plans to see her the next day. And then he didn't talk to her anymore until he got off from work on the 18th, and he texted her because he's supposed to meet up with her, and he didn't get a response. So I guess, he probably assumed she just ghosted him or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, so his alibi is pretty much checking out. I mean, it's not rock solid because, it's his mom.
But he doesn't seem like the last guy that's actually seen her.
Well, he doesn't seem like, he had anything to do with it. So anyway, police start looking into Heather's last known whereabouts. When they go to her house, her apartment, she shares this apartment with her friend Bree. But Bree, this is around the holidays, and Bree's a college student. So she's back home in New Jersey with her family.
Okay.
Well, when they get to the apartment's kind of like her car. It's kind of messy, just clothes strewn everywhere, and there's like a half-packed suitcase. And they notice that there's like tissues scattered everywhere in the living room.
It's weird.
But there's no sign of a struggle. There's no sign of a robbery. There's just nothing out of the ordinary there.
Okay.
So then they go over her car with a fine-tooth comb. And again, they really just don't find anything. So the police request cell phone data. Well, at the same time, Terry Elvis, her dad, is going to his cell phone provider and trying to get that data as well because she was on his phone plan. They go to the landing and they organize a search and they scour that area and they still don't really find anything. So then they start looking into Heather's personal life. They go to the tilted kilt.
The tilted kilt?
Where they talk to Heather's manager, Jessica Cook, and she tells police that they need to talk to Sydney Moorer.
Who's Sydney Moore?
Okay.
Moorer?
Yeah, Sydney Moorer, like more, but more of it. Moorer.
Okay, Moorer.
Okay, so Sydney had been hired at the Tilted Kilt in the spring of 2013 as a maintenance man. So he had like his own business. That's what he did. He went to different restaurants and worked on their equipment. He did maintenance work.
So he was kind of like a contracted vendor.
Yeah, so these restaurants would contract him. And he mostly worked at night. He would go to these restaurants kind of around closing time.
Right.
And would work after the employee, while the employees were getting off.
Right. Okay.
So Jessica tells them that somewhere in the spring of 2013, the employees of the Tilted Kilt had gone to a local baseball game. And afterwards, they returned to the restaurant to hang out. And the restaurant, of course, is closed. So when they get there, Sydney is there doing his maintenance work. Well, they're all kind of chilling on the back patio. And then, employees notice Heather and Sydney talking. And they talked for quite a while. And then after they were done, when Heather went back into the restaurant, she confided in Jessica that she thought Sydney was cute and had a crush on him.
Okay.
Well, pretty soon, Sydney seems to take interest in her, and he starts coming in earlier in the day. So he works
So
at
he can
night.
run into her.
Yeah, he works at night, but he starts coming in kind of in the morning or early afternoon hours and bringing her coffee and bagels.
Okay.
And talking with her a little while, and then he'll leave, and then he left. Well, one day, Heather's phone is charging in the office, and Jessica's in there working, and her phone just starts going off with text messages.
Mm-hmm.
So Jessica, after a while, decides to look at her phone because she's afraid it might be a family emergency or something. So she looks at her phone, and she is just shocked at what she's seeing. She's seeing all these text messages from Sydney Moore. And these text messages make it completely obvious that these two are in some kind of a relationship.
Okay.
One even says something about them having sex on the back patio of the Tilted Kilt.
What the fuck? Okay.
Yeah, classy, huh? So at this point, Jessica knows that she needs to confront Heather about this.
Stop getting it on in the back porch.
Yeah, come on. Don't get it on the back porch. Heather confirms that they have been in a relationship, and although the relationship seemed to be mostly sexual, many of her friends and many of the employees at the Tilted Kilt said that it did seem like they had feelings for each other. They did seem to care for each other.
Yeah.
They were always like laughing and smiling, and they appeared to be in love. Well, this would be fine, right? But except for the fact that at the time, Heather is 19 years old.
She's pretty young.
Yeah. Sydney is almost 38.
So, yeah, he's old enough to be her dad.
Yeah, that's
a young dad, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty big age difference. And like I've said before, I feel like age differences, that the older you get, the less they matter.
Right.
So,
but
I mean,
she's
if you
kinda...
tack 10 years onto those ages, it's not that big of a deal. But at their ages, at this point,
they're still kind of a baby. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
19 still... To me, 19 is still a teenager.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a close to 20-year age difference.
And
here.
this is like a close to a middle-aged man. So, yeah.
Not only that, Sydney is married to a 40-year-old woman named Tammy, and they have 3 kids.
There it is.
Yeah.
He came with baggage.
So this affair continues for a few months, and everyone in the restaurant knew about it. You can't keep something like that a secret. You try to have a work affair, everybody you know.
Yeah, everybody at work
everybody
at work finds out about the work couples and shit.
So shit hits the fan when, well, first of all, let me back up. Like I said, everybody at the Tilted Kilt knew about this. Mm-hmm. And they knew Sydney was married. They knew he had kids and all that. They knew of Tammy, his wife. And so some of the girls at the Tilted Kilt try to play a prank on Heather. And they tell Heather that Tammy, or they call up to the Tilted Kilt pretending to be Tammy and telling her to like stay away from her husband and all this stuff. And,
oh, God.
And Heather is instantly terrified. Like, this really freaks her out that she thinks that Tammy knows.
I'd be like, all right, come on, bitch.
So, I mean, of course it was a joke, but then Tammy really does find out about the affair.
Uh-huh.
And one day she calls Heather from Sydney's phone and tells her that she knows that she is sleeping with her husband. And then she puts Sydney on the phone. And Sydney, instead of just being a fucking man and saying, hey, I made a mistake, I'm really sorry, I love my wife, I want to make my marriage work, we can't see each other anymore, he completely degrades Heather. He tells her that she meant nothing to him and that she was just somebody who spread her legs. And ends the whole relationship. Yes, he really is a bitch. And you'll see why.
He is a bitch already.
Yeah, I have more details that support that statement. But anyway.
His wife's a bitch too.
Yeah. So after Sydney ends this relationship, of course, Heather is heartbroken, but she's trying to pick up the pieces and move on. But Tammy will not leave her alone. Tammy continues to harass Heather. She sends her pictures of her and Sydney having sex.
This bitch.
At one point, she sends a picture of him performing oral sex on who we can just assume is her because her face isn't in it.
Yeah.
But Heather gets a picture of that. And then she starts sending like threatening text messages.
But what's the point? Okay, like apparently, okay, if you forgive your husband, then leave the other bitch alone.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He ended it. I mean, maybe she didn't
apparently,
believe that, but yeah, they're just, she's completely
She should I mean, he got on the phone and talked his little shit and they should have just left it at that.
Yeah. So she sends her some text messages and I'll read you what a few of them say. She sends one that says, someone's about to get their ass beat down. And then she says, you can tell me who you are. I don't know if at this point maybe she didn't know Heather's name or who Heather was.
Okay.
But she says, you can tell me who you are right now or I will find out another way. And Heather was just not one to back down. She wasn't the one to just ignore this shit. So she's going to respond. So she says, nobody you need to worry about anymore. And at some point, Tammy says, hey, sweetie, you ready to meet the missus? And then sends her a text that says, your bitch is about to take his last breath.
What?
Yeah.
Talking about who?
Talking about Sydney. She texts Heather and says, your bitch is about to take his last breath.
This bitch is crazy.
Yeah, I know, right? And not only is she harassing her through text messages, she's also repeatedly calling up to the Tilted Kilt.
Is this like in a span of like a few days? Or
I'm thinking it's like a couple of months.
So she
It
harassed
goes
her
on
for a while.
Yeah, for a little while. I
And
mean, I
Heather-
don't know the definite period of time.
Did Heather
but for a
like
little
talk
while.
to like the girls at work about it, like her friends at work?
Yeah, and she,
stuff?
she was confiding in her manager, Jessica, because Jessica ran everything in the front of the house, the hostesses, the servers.
So I'm assuming
bartenders.
she didn't allow him to come back, right? At this.
Well, I think Tammy kept him from coming back.
Okay, so that
And
was
I think, yeah,
problem.
she made, he quit working for the Tilted Kilt.
Okay.
Not long after this. And that was another thing. Not only was she sending these harassing text messages to Heather and calling her at work, but she actually called the head manager of the Tilted Kilt and told him that he needed to fire Heather because she had been sleeping with her husband and that Sydney wasn't allowed to go back up there and work until they got rid of her.
Okay, so they were like, all right, bye, Sydney.
Pretty much, because,
Okay.
I mean, the manager's just like, I'm not going to fire this girl just because she has, like, some personal problems going on.
Or
and she's
because
a
your
good
husband cheated on you.
Yeah, I mean, she's a good employee. I'm not going to do that.
So,
So,
honey, maybe you need to talk to your old man.
right.
Stupid bitch.
So, finally, after a while, the threatening text and the calls at work seemed to cease. And this is when, somewhere in like the end of November, early December, Tammy and Sydney buy a black Ford F-150, a brand new truck, and they go on a 3-week trip across the country. They go to the west, they drive to the West Coast, go to Disneyland and back.
Okay.
So the police start looking into Sydney's background. So he was born in Summerville, South Carolina, and he came to Myrtle Beach in 1997 looking for work. He met Tammy at a restaurant that he was working at, and they married shortly thereafter. Everyone said he came from a really good family, and up until that point, they had been pretty tight-knit. But Sydney's family members would go on to say that after he met and married Tammy, he pretty much cut them off. They rarely saw him or heard from him. And they were married for nearly 16 years at this point. The entire time that he had been married to Tammy, they had only seen Sydney one time without her.
Oh, wow.
And they all insisted that she absolutely wore the pants in the family, that she was very controlling, and that she pretty much ran the whole relationship.
So they didn't really care for her too much, huh?
Probably not. So, like we said before, Sydney has this small business. He's a restaurant maintenance man. He works at night. Well, she stays at home with the kids, but I guess sometimes she does go help him with his business.
Okay.
But they pretty much are up at night. They sleep all day. Their kids are not in the public school system. They are homeschooled. And these people are absolutely obsessed with Disney.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons that the kids are being...
I wish I could just live my life around Disney.
Yeah.
I mean,
so apparently some people do. I mean, everybody's into Disney a little bit.
I love Disney, but as far as making it my
everybody
life...
does, but at the same time, I mean, everybody kind of likes Disney, but it seems like there are some people that are... They're really into like Disney characters, Disney movies, and Disney vacations.
I worked with a guy when I was a correctional officer.
Yeah.
I worked with a guy that was a counselor, that him and his wife were just
Disney
absolute
fanatics.
Yes, and
Yeah.
he even had like tattoos of them.
Okay. So, yeah.
So, yeah.
So I'm thinking that these people are on that level.
And they went to Disney like at least twice a year.
Okay, yeah, that's them. So Tammy and Sydney and their kids, The kids are being homeschooled because they travel so much and because they go to Disney World at least once a year, sometimes several times a year, which, fuck, I want to work in restaurant maintenance because
I want to be able to
can't afford
that.
to go to Disney World once, you know? That's an expensive trip.
Hell, it's hard to even make it to Dollywood. Well, Dollywood's not even around anymore, is it?
No, it is.
Oh, it is? Okay, yeah.
But anyway, so at this point, the police contact Sidney Moore and they go out to his house and they ask him if he had spoken with Heather. At first, he says no. And they ask him, like, what's his relationship with Heather Elvis? And he says, there is no relationship. There used to be a relationship, but I broke it off. And they're like, okay, cool. But then, he finally confesses that he had spoken to her within the past few days.
Mm-hmm.
He tells police that she had been leaving notes on his truck and trying to get him to contact her, and that he called her just to tell her to leave him and his family alone.
I call bullshit.
Right. So they asked Sidney about his whereabouts on December 18th. They asked him if he had gone out to Peachtree Landing, and he denied being there that night. He claimed that he was at home, he was asleep, and he was handcuffed to the bed by his wife, and only she had the key.
And why was he handcuffed to the bed?
So
like on some freaky
apparently
shit?
this was to gain back the trust in their marriage. So actually, Sidney had already had a previous affair before Heather.
Okay, so this is like not the first time.
This is not his first go around with this. But after Heather, apparently he agreed to let his wife fucking handcuff him to the bed at night as a means to reconcile their marriage and gain back her trust.
Guys, you see what these Disney-ass bitches be doing?
I know, right? So, let me just say, my husband, Jeremy, hates true crime. And he cannot understand why I'm into it, and it kind of freaks him out.
It does the same thing to Gary.
Yeah, so he finds that me watching these true crime shows and listening to podcasts and having a podcast and reading books about murder, it scares the shit out of him.
No, it really just makes you more woke.
Yeah, it scares him. And also, he asks me all the time, how does this not warp your mind? Constantly absorbing this shit. And I mean, I try to tell him it's not like I conjure this shit up in my imagination. Like, this shit really happened.
Shit.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's kind of soothing in a weird way.
Yeah, I know. I mean, true crime fans get it. Like, you all get it. If you're listening to this, you get it. But my husband absolutely does not. And next time he says something to me about this shit, I'm going to bring up fucking Tammy Moore. Because...
you want a Disney-ass bitch?
Yeah.
I'll show you a Disney-ass bitch.
Okay, so, I mean, you got this bitch that's probably seen all 20 fucking Toy Stories like 53 times each.
Pocahontas, Cinderella.
Yeah, she's got Mickey shit everywhere. She probably fucking handcuffed him wearing a damn Piglet onesie. I mean, I'm going to ask my husband, like, is this what you want? You want a Disney bitch? You want to deal with Tammy?
You'd be like that dude, that Mickey Mouse dude off TikTok. Crush me, daddy. Crush me, daddy. Crush me, daddy.
This shit's hilarious.
Check out the TikTok guy
so the
with the Mickey Mouse ears.
Yeah, so anyway, the police are like, okay. And they leave, but they know something isn't adding up. So they contact Heather's roommate and her best friend, Bree. And this is Brianna Colzer, the one who was out of state for the holidays. Well, Bree tells police that in the early morning hours of December 18th, around 1:44 a.m., Heather called her crying hysterically. She claimed that Sidney had called and said that he had left his wife and wanted to see her. So Bree's like, girl, like, why did you even answer the phone? And Heather tells her it's because it wasn't his number that he called from.
Okay.
So she told Heather not to do anything rash, to get some sleep, and that they would discuss it later that day.
Okay.
And she said when she got off the phone with Heather that she had no inclination that Heather was going to meet Sidney. It seemed that Heather agreed with her and was just going to go to sleep that night. But that was the last time that she spoke to Heather. Like I said before, Terry Elvis had requested phone records from his service provider. Well, when the records came back, there were several calls made and received by a certain phone number. They didn't know who this phone number belonged to. So him and his wife started doing like some internet searches, and they discovered that it was the phone number for Sidney Moore.
Okay.
So Terry just calls Sidney Like, anybody would do that. I would do that. He calls up Sydney, and it's kind of in the middle of the night, but he tells Sydney, he's like, hey, you don't know me, but I'm Heather's dad. And before he can go any further, Sydney just cusses him out.
What a fucking asshole.
Yeah, he's a bitch for real. But he cusses Terry out. He says, don't fucking call me. I don't know this girl.
So, Heather never mentioned to her family that she was seeing Sydney?
So she never told her parents. Now, she did mention it to her little sister, Morgan.
Okay.
But she didn't tell her all the dirty details.
About him being married.
Yeah, she didn't tell her all that. She just told her she was dating a guy named Sydney, and she was really nice. He was really nice and sweet, and that she was really into him.
Okay.
Which, Morgan at the time was probably only 15 years old, so you're not going to tell your little sister all that shit, because I know firsthand that they're going to go snitch.
Not all the time. I stopped doing that when I was 16.
Okay, so yeah, I could tell you shit when you were 15. But anyway, police also start looking at the records, and they discover a phone call from a payphone. They track it, they find this weird number, and they track it back to a payphone.
They still have those?
Yeah, well, in 2013, I guess they had a few here and there.
Yeah, okay.
So they tracked the payphone to a local gas station.
2013 seems like that was just
Yeah.
a couple
they
weeks
didn't
ago.
have that many payphones, but I guess
I know, but
they had a few,
But can you believe it's almost been what? It's 8
That's
years ago.
8 years ago?
Yeah.
So they looked at the gas station's video surveillance system, and the surveillance shows a man making a phone call at the same time that Heather received it. And it looks a lot like Sidney Moore. They're pretty sure it's him. They can't really prove it. So they bring Sydney in for questioning. And at first they ask him about what he does, what kind of job he has. And he tells them that he does maintenance work for restaurants, that he works at night, blah, blah, blah. And they ask if anybody works with him, and he tells them that his wife Tammy does. They ask if she was with him that night, and he says that she was. He goes on to say that he doesn't want to get into the graphic details with them. And he says, well, we're trying to work on our marriage. And then he says that while they were on Broadway, I guess every town has a Broadway.
Yeah.
But while they're on Broadway in South Carolina, they had sex in the truck.
Him and who?
His wife, Tammy, or in the parking lot.
And why was this relevant?
I don't know. I don't know why he said this, but yeah, he
Okay.
made it perfectly clear that he had sex in a public place with Tammy.
He fucked his crazy ass Disney bitch wife.
Right.
Okay.
And then later on, they had sex when they were in Conway. They had sex in another parking lot.
I bet you the cops are just like, okay, thank you for the visual. Can we talk about Heather?
Right. But it's this is obviously how they're trying to repair their marriage. I don't know.
By telling everybody.
Well, by screwing in parking lots.
Oh, yeah, because fuck it. Let's both be sex offenders together.
Right. And fuck, I don't even know why all these marriage counselors are wasting their time, or why people are wasting their money on them, when this is all you have to do to make your marriage work. Just go bang it out in some parking lots.
All right. Noted.
Keep that in mind. Yeah.
Noted.
Also, keep in mind it's illegal.
Yeah.
So they asked for details about the call that he had made to Heather. He said that Heather had asked him to meet her, and he refused and told her, I'm trying to make my marriage work, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, after he got off the phone with her, he turned the volume down on his phone, but then she had called 4 more times, and he didn't know because the volume was off. So then they asked him if he had used any other phones that night to call her, and he says that he didn't. And they already know about the payphones, so they're trying to catch him in a lie here. Well, then they ask him if maybe he used a payphone to call her. And at first he says that he didn't, and he says, do they even still have payphones? And so then they tell him about the surveillance at the gas station at the payphone. And he finally breaks down and confesses to making the payphone call.
You're caught, buddy.
Right. Well, again, they ask him about Peachtree Landing, and he says that it's been a really long time since he's been there, close to a year since he's been to Peachtree Landing.
Sure.
They have to let Sydney go that night. They really don't get enough out of him. Well, then they go to the Moore household. And Sydney isn't home, but Tammy is.
Uh-oh.
So Tammy gives the police permission to glance around. Well, the whole time she is staying on top of them. They don't have a search warrant, so she's telling them everything that they can and can't look at. because she's got to be in complete control.
That does not throw red flags at all.
Right.
Because, of course, if there's nothing in there, you wouldn't be worried about it.
Yeah. So, they take a look around. They ask to search Sydney's truck, which is there, but Tammy says that she doesn't have the keys. So while they're in the home, they notice a video surveillance system throughout the house and interior and exterior video cameras.
Okay, so they got the whole place
Yeah.
under surveillance.
Right.
Okay.
So they notice it, but they don't want to say anything to Tammy because they want to get a warrant and search
the video.
Yeah, what's in that system. So they leave, and on December 23rd, they come back with a search warrant for the Moorer home. Well, when they enter the home this time, the surveillance system that was there on the first time they visited there is no longer there. It had been replaced by another system.
Uh-oh.
And this system has nothing prior to December 21st on it. And they find that really odd because...
Another day she went missing?
No, she went missing on December 18th.
Okay, so just so happens on the 21st they decided
to switch out their systems.
Okay.
And of course the police find this really odd because if they are innocent, then having that surveillance system, if they were really home the whole time, that's going to prove that they were home, that they didn't do anything. That's their strongest alibi. Why would you just get rid of it?
Yeah, because there was something on there that they didn't want other people to see.
So after they search the Moorer home, Tammy takes to Facebook. And the whole thing becomes a social media firestorm.
Facebook is the ultimate place for crazy bitches.
Yeah, she takes to Facebook and immediately starts trashing Heather. And I'm going to read to you verbatim her Facebook post. I have it right here, okay?
Read it to me.
Well, Sydney cheated on me in the months of September, October with a psycho whore who has since went missing, and now her crazy daddy is threatening to kill my children and Sydney, therefore making Sydney stupid.
That did not happen, right?
No, okay. I haven't heard anything about Terry Elvis threatening the Moorer children.
Okay.
So, and then she says, this girl grabbed his business card out of the office at her workplace and had fantasies about him as far back as March, but talked about it in July, naming him. I don't know any other word to describe my husband at this point. All you have to do is research this girl's Twitter, although 4 months of it has gone missing in the past couple of weeks, and her Tumblr to see what a twisted person she truly is. I could care less seeing that I had a boyfriend of my own for the past couple of years, but when someone brings my children into the scenario, it's a whole other story. I will not tolerate anyone hurting my children because my husband banged a hoe 3 times in the back seat of her car and nothing more. I could care less what he screwed around with, but the fact that this jerk is stalking my family is unacceptable. This is not something that you post when you were under suspicion by the police for the involvement of a missing girl.
I'm really glad that we have a podcast because it gives me the chance to say what a dumb bitch some people are.
Right.
And that is just complete nonsense. She just...
So, okay. Around this time, she's still missing.
It says a lot about her, though.
It really does, yeah.
Tammy. Crazy bitch
Tammy. Anyway, so this is a media firestorm in this area. The police, the family, of course, are giving TV interviews because they're trying to find her. On social media, everybody, is putting out their own opinion, and the town is kind of split. Some of them support the Elvis family and some support the Moorers.
Really?
And insist that they didn't have anything to do with it. Yeah, it's odd.
Okay.
Anyway, during this time, Bree, the TV cameras were constantly outside of her apartment.
Bree,
Heather's roommate.
Okay, yeah. The one from New Jersey.
Actually, the owner of the apartment, couldn't handle it, and Bree actually got evicted because of the media presence outside of her home.
That wasn't even her fault.
Yeah, no, it wasn't, but the owner just couldn't deal, so.
Did she go back to New Jersey?
No, I don't know. I don't know what happened with Bree. She probably got her another place, but yeah, she had to leave there. So, with all this going on, authorities are still struggling to justify any charges against the Moorers, as bad as they want to. They just don't have anything to file. So then they look into the location of Heather's phone the night that she went missing. So at 3:38, she calls Sydney, and she is at Peachtree Landing. And by 3:42, her phone goes dead. The police are uncertain about Sydney's location at the time. A local resident calls the police to say that she knew where Sydney and Tammy lived, and she said that if they were going out to Peachtree Landing that night, that they would have had to driven down her road, and that she most likely has them on her video surveillance system.
Yeah.
So they look at this video surveillance system, and they do see a dark truck, just like Sydney's, driving from the direction of the Moorer's house to Peachtree Landing, and then a few minutes later coming back. So around the same time, Heather's phone goes dead. So while they're down there, Heather's phone goes dead, and then they're driving back.
Okay.
So they get yet another search warrant on February 21st. They go back to the Moorer's house. They find the house in complete disarray. They find like trash and old food and stuff everywhere. It's just really weird.
Like, had it been abandoned?
No, I guess they were still living there. I don't know what was going on with them.
Nasty?
Yeah, I guess so. So anyway, they collect computers, several shotguns, and a handgun.
Okay.
And outside, they also find cleaner and concrete and what they think is a kidnapping kit.
Really?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
So they seize Sydney's Ford F-150. They arrest Sydney and Tammy on February 24th, 2014. They are charged with the murder of Heather Elvis, kidnapping, conspiracy to kidnap, indecent exposure because they were fucking in all these parking lots.
Yeah, he told on
Yeah. And
that's what he gets.
and Medicare fraud, because obviously they've been lying about their income to Medicare.
God damn.
Right.
Guys, always let the fucking ships sink themselves.
Yeah.
Because they do, always.
So the judge rules that Sydney and Tammy will be tried separately. Jimmy Richardson is the chief solicitor in this case, and Nancy Livesay is the prosecutor. So Sydney hires Kirk Truslow as his defense attorney. The Moorer supporters start trashing Heather, and someone even attempts to kill Terry Elvis.
Oh my God.
Yeah, one night he's taking out his trash, he's taking it to his garbage can on the street, and he hears gunshots. Somebody drives past his house firing a gun, and he's pretty much having to hide behind the trash can.
Oh shit.
So fortunately, he isn't hurt, but they never found out who did it. So things are getting really contentious in this area between the Moorer supporters and the Elvis supporters. The community is completely split. I don't know why they're backing the Moorers.
I mean, even, like, how is that the Elvis? Like, they just want to know what happened to their daughter.
Right. Yeah, I don't get it either. I really don't. But, I mean, I have, like, gone down the rabbit hole on this. I've gone to, like, different Facebook sites or whatever.
Have you gone to Reddit?
No, I have
Sometimes
not.
you find shit on Reddit.
Yeah, I know, but I have not gone down the
guys Reddit
hole.
Yeah, the Reddit hole is worse than any other hole you can get into. Seriously,
yeah,
Reddit can get you down some pretty dark holes.
But I mean, also the Moorers claim that they are being harassed as well, and that their children are in danger
themselves.
Oh yeah, but their children are in danger. Which, I mean, I was reading into this, and I saw something where someone on Facebook had commented that maybe the Moorer's daughter needed to come up missing, and then maybe they would talk about what happened to Heather.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty dark. And at the time, I think their daughter was she was a teenager herself.
Okay.
Now, let me just say, that's not right. I mean, this girl, she didn't do anything. She's not responsible for her parents' mistakes. So they definitely shouldn't have threatened the Moorer's daughter.
Right.
But at the same time, it's almost karmic. I absolutely believe that Tammy and Sydney would deserve to worry about their daughter like that.
Yeah.
After the way they have treated the Elvis family,
right? They
would deserve to not know what happened to their own kid.
Right.
But their daughter doesn't deserve it,
that.
So.
They deserve to have the feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Moorers, they try to get help from the local police, but there's not much the police can do because it's like all on social media.
Right.
On March 10th, 2016, the murder charges are dropped because there's just not enough evidence to support them.
Man.
Yeah, because at this point, they still don't have a body. They don't have any concrete physical evidence, and they know that it's going to be really hard to convince a jury beyond a reasonable doubt
But I mean,
that they killed her because they don't know what actually happened out there.
I'm pretty sure she's gone, though.
Oh, yeah, everybody's pretty sure about that, but they still feel confident that they can win on the kidnapping charges. So on June 20th, 2016, the Sydney murder trial commences. Nancy Livesay and Martin Spratlin are leading the prosecution team on the case. So they're setting out to prove that Heather was lured into a trap by Sydney and Tammy Moore.
Okay, yeah.
And they said that they knew that this was going to be hard to prove.
Yeah.
But prosecutors, their first witness is Jessica Cook, who is, of course, was the manager at the Tilted Kilt. Jessica testifies that she started noticing changes in Heather's physical appearance, that Heather was gaining weight and at one point needed a new uniform. She said that she had gone from an A-cut bra all the way up to a C-cut bra and was also going to need another kilt. So jokingly, Jessica just asked Heather if she might be pregnant. And Heather confessed to her that she thought she might be.
Oh, shit.
And at the time that she said this, the only person that she'd been having sex with was Sydney.
Oh, man.
So Jessica said that Heather had taken a pregnancy test at the Tilted Kilt, but that the test had come back error, meaning it
didn't say yes or no.
It didn't say yes or no, positive or negative. It said error, which meant that either that it didn't detect enough of the pregnancy hormone to be a positive, or maybe she didn't hold it in her urine stream long enough. And then her friend Bree had said that after that, she didn't even want to take another test. So it's possible that she didn't even want to know. Like she was denying it to herself. And I mean, it's possible that she even sabotaged that pregnancy test herself.
Right.
Because, her manager, all these people are like wanting to know. And she, it's possible that she just kind of barely touched her pee with it. And yeah, because she didn't really want to know. She was afraid to know.
Or put it underwater or whatever.
Yeah, she was afraid to know. So at this point, prosecutors feel like this proves motive, because it's one thing for Sydney and Heather to have an affair, but for her to be pregnant with his baby, this is going to keep her in the picture a lot longer than Tammy Moore is comfortable with.
Exactly. And that's a good reason for her to be acting the way she does. Well, not really. She's not just really. A crazy bitch.
There's no reason for
Tammy to
act like she does. The prosecution calls in a forensic video expert. This expert testifies that he analyzed the video and that he used headlight spread analysis. And this is how headlights spread on the roadway. So apparently all cars have a different spread, like your headlights, how they're spreading out on the road.
Yeah.
So what he did, he went out to that area at the same time of night that they believe Sydney went out there, like the early morning hours. And he tested several different types of pickup trucks that resembled the one in the video.
Okay.
And then, so he testifies that the only truck that had the same headlight spread was a Ford F-150. And in his opinion, he believed that truck was Sydney's.
I believe so, too.
Yeah. They also used phone records and a timeline. But then the police the defense start to poke holes in the theories. Kirk Truslow, I can't help but to like Sydney's attorney.
Really?
So Truslow pretty much says, after they've given this expert testimony
Don't you hate that, though, how you like...
Yeah, you like the bad guy, yeah.
The bad guy's attorney's like the shit, but you hate the fucking bad guy, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, who was Casey Anthony's attorney?
I don't know, but
Jose
he was good.
Baez.
He was good.
Oh, my God. If I'm ever charged with anything, call that fucker.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he could get Casey off... Jesus.
Yeah.
And he represented Aaron Hernandez and
Did
got
he?
him off.
Yeah, off his first murder charge.
No, the second murder charge.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So anyway, Kirk Truslow, he's poking all these holes in the prosecution's theories, and they've, had this expert claim that Sydney's truck had to be the only truck that made this headlight spread on the roadway that night. Well, Truslow pretty much says, so you're trying to tell me that this truck has a fucking fingerprint? Is that what you're trying to tell everybody? That only Sidney Moore's truck could have done this? So pretty much he discredits the witness. I mean, he doesn't discredit him, but Sidney Moore did not own the only 2013 Ford F-150.
Right.
So he's saying that you can't prove that it absolutely was Sidney's truck, even if you can prove what kind of truck it was. So then the state calls Amelia Bethia from the Law Enforcement Division from the state. So Sidney mentioned during the police interview that that night he had gone to Walmart. So they pulled the surveillance from the Walmart that they had gone to. And this shows Sidney walking around the store. He's alone in the store. And he picks up a couple things and he makes a purchase. And the receipt from his purchase showed that he purchased a cigar and a pregnancy test.
Oh.
The time on the receipt is 1:21 on December 18th. And he used the payphone to call Heather at 1:33. It can be surmised that he was buying that test for her. He bought the test for her and then he called her on the payphone to have her meet him.
I wonder if he forced her to take the test.
I know. That's really odd, yeah. So Sidney chose not to take the stand in his own trial, but that didn't mean that he was going to keep his fucking mouth shut.
Of course not.
He didn't want to tell his story in court. He didn't want to be pressed under cross-examination, but he did go to the local news to give them his 2 cents, and he tells he tells them that the pregnancy test was actually for Tammy because they were trying to work on their marriage and they were trying to have another baby, and that he had purchased that pregnancy test for her. So here they go around fucking in all these parking lots, and it's like, okay, let's go to Walmart and see if it worked. I mean, and then he says that the test, of course, was negative. But anyway, so they start their closing statements, and LiveSay summarized that Sidney called Heather, arranged to meet her at the landing, drove to Peachtree Landing, then her phone goes dead, and he drives back. And so and they never saw from Heather again. So they'd only leave Sidney Moore, and something had to happen.
Yeah.
In that time. Well, Truslove says that they couldn't prove something that never happened.
Right.
He also mentions that Sidney had no previous criminal record, no history of violence or anything, and that he really had no reason to hurt Heather, that he cared for Heather, and that he wouldn't have done this. He's almost 40 years old. He's never done anything like this before.
Yeah.
And then the defense presents a theory that perhaps Tammy drove the truck to Peachtree Landing. Now,
Possibly.
This is Sidney's attorney, and he's going after Tammy himself.
Do it.
So, Sidney got his ass beat later.
Yeah.
So, Tammy, he says that Tammy may have driven the truck out there, and that she was the one that had the motive, and she's the one going batshit crazy and harassing Heather, not Sidney.
True.
So the jury deliberates, and after 9 hours, they come back, and they're completely deadlocked.
They can't figure it out.
They cannot come up with a verdict, and a mistrial is declared.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, this is a major disappointment for the Elvis family.
Yeah.
And for the prosecution. So they know that they're going to have to retry this whole case. But they temporarily put that on the back burner because they have to prepare for Tammy's trial, which is coming up next. So Tammy's trial begins on October 9th, 2018. And they're a little worried about this because they don't have as much evidence on Tammy as they did Sidney.
Okay.
And so a new member of the prosecution joins the team. His name is Chris Helms. And he makes the opening statements. He tells the jury that, of course, this is a completely circumstantial case. He admits that. Okay. He says, but the circumstances are very overpowering and circumstances do not change.
Right.
And then he goes into Tammy's jealousy, how she was harassing Heather, and that how it had gotten back to her that Heather may be pregnant. And this just threw Tammy over the edge. Mm-hmm. Tammy could deal with this much younger woman having an affair with her husband, but she could not tolerate her being pregnant with his baby. And this is what motivated her to kidnap Heather. Craig McCollum is Tammy's attorney. He's the defense attorney in this case. And he's just claiming that Tammy is a complete scapegoat. They don't know what happened to this girl. Nobody has answers, so they're just putting it on her.
Oh, poor Tammy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Poor Tammy. So the prosecution calls Jacob Morton, and this is a friend of the Moore's kids. And he claimed that he had been at their house. I guess he spent a lot of time there. And one of the times that he was at her house, he saw Sydney with a fresh tattoo. And this tattoo is located like on his lower abdomen, like right above his crotch. And guess what it says?
Tammy.
And this is like a brand new tattoo. And then at somewhere while he's at the Moore's house, not long after he gets this tattoo, he hears Tammy say, "If you hadn't messed with that girl, this wouldn't be happening."
What the fuck, dude? What is wrong with you, dude? Grow some balls.
Right.
Like,
Jesus. Okay, let me say, like, I don't want to be insensitive, okay? When we think about domestic violence, when we think about abusive relationships, whether physically or mentally, verbally, emotionally, domestic situations between couples, we tend to think of women as being the victims of this.
yeah.
Now, we know that this can happen to men, and
Right.
it does happen to men.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say that I really do feel like Sydney was very verbally abused by Tammy.
Yeah.
And probably physically abused.
I mean-
and she even confessed to beating the hell out of Sydney. She told his mom after she found out he had an affair that she beat the shit out of him.
Sydney's family already confirmed that she wore the pants.
Right.
Like, she was the bossy one.
Yeah, and then, she kind of separated him from his family, and,
Yeah.
that's the cycle of abuse. We know
Right.
that. So there's no doubt in my mind that he was in an abusive relationship with Tammy. But that being said, he's still a bitch.
He is a bitch.
He's still a little bitch, and not just because of his relationship with his wife.
It's the way he acted. It's the way
it's
he
the way he acts.
It's the way that he allowed her. Now, I'm not saying, I mean, people fall victim to that all the time. I get it. But come on, dude. Like, she was just completely degrading him.
Right.
In all sorts of ways.
Yeah. So anyway, the prosecution then calls a guy by the name of Donald Dan Marino. I think it's Day Marino. I'm sorry.
Dan Marino.
No, I think it's Day Marino.
Okay.
Well, this is Tammy's cousin, and he claims that he was at the Moorer household, that they were having like a barbecue over there,
Mm-hmm.
and that he had gone outside with Sydney, and this was after Heather's disappearance,
Okay.
and that Sydney showed him a picture on his cell phone of Heather. And they would not let Day Marino get into graphic detail of this photo. But he said that Sydney took the picture of Heather as proof for Tammy.
Like, what was she doing in the
Well,
photo?
like I said, they wouldn't let him get into graphic detail. But Nancy Livesay did ask him, based on this photo you saw, did Heather appear to be talking or awake? And he said no. And then she said, based on the photo you saw, do you expect that anyone will ever see or hear from Heather again? And he said no.
Well, that's pretty much says it all right there.
Yeah. Well, when the defense questions Day Marino, he completely crumbles because Day Marino had been known to have some drug problems, and he had served some time in jail.
Mm-hmm.
I think when he testified, he was incarcerated. But they asked him about his drug history. And then they asked him about his mother. And they asked him if he had always been honest with his mother about his drug use. And he said that he always kept it honest with his mom, that he didn't hide anything like that from her. Then they played a recording of a phone call from him to his mother in jail.
Mm-hmm.
Now, his mother says, "Why didn't you tell me that they showed you a picture?" Day Marino tells his mother that it's not true, that she needs to quit listening to other people. And so this pretty much completely discredits him.
Yeah.
So then they're like, "So did you lie to your mother there?" And he said, "Well, yeah, I didn't want her to be stressed out about this case." And they're like, "Well, so you're not always honest with your mom, and you just testified under oath that you are."
Yeah.
So, I mean, he completely breaks down. He gets irritable, and he says under his breath that they're pissing him off. So this doesn't go well for the prosecution using this witness. But the prosecution insisted that they did not offer him anything.
No, shorten his time.
They didn't give him any kind of deals or anything. I mean,
He probably just thought if he started talking that somebody would do
that
something
he came
for him.
forward and just like wanted to help with the case.
Yeah.
So anyway,
He probably knew his cousin was batshit crazy.
yeah. So the prosecution rests, and then Tammy is asked if she wants to testify. Because, of course, you always have the right to testify in your own trial.
Right.
But you can't be forced to.
Right.
And not that many people do, especially when they're up against murder charges, because...
Not everybody's Ted Bundy.
Yeah, because, I mean, yeah, you can say what you want as long as, you know, the defense is questioning you, but then you're under cross-examination by the prosecution.
And that's where shit gets
And that's when
real.
shit gets real, yeah. They asked Tammy if she wants to testify, and she says that she does.
Oh, my God.
And she's set to testify on day 9. Well, here's the thing, and I don't know if it's because of just all the social media bullshit and everything that's going around in this county. Well, the judge had issued a gag order keeping anybody from talking about the case to get Tammy to shut her fucking mouth.
Oh, God.
Well, this doesn't work because the night before Tammy is supposed to testify in her own trial, she gives an interview to 2020.
Of course she does. That's
going to be aired on live TV.
I bet you she's going to sink her own ship.
Right.
Okay.
So when she testifies, when she first takes the stand and the defense is questioning her, it starts out as a complete pity party for Tammy. Her attorney asked her how her life had been affected by these allegations. And she tears up and says that she can't homeschool her children. They can't go anywhere. They're having all these threats. Her father died while she was being held in the jail, and that she had to go to the funeral home in shackles. And it's just, like I said, a whole big pity party about how hard this had been for her and Sydney. And then she denies kidnapping Heather. Well, then it's the prosecution's turn, and Nancy Livesay goes to question Tammy, and then things get really contentious.
Ooh.
Nancy Livesay starts out by asking Tammy, "Do you know who I am?" And Tammy replies, "You're Nancy Livesay, and you've been making my life miserable." And then
I bet you that was a compliment to her.
And then she asked if she can ask the prosecutor a question, to which the judge denies.
Tammy asked if she could ask
Yeah, she's like, "Can I ask you a question?" And the judge's like, "No.
This is not how that works."
Yeah, I know that you're Tammy and everything, but no. That's not how it works. So when the prosecution starts questioning Tammy pretty much says that she had nothing against Heather. Everything was fine. She was completely okay with her husband banging a 20-year-old.
Yeah, it sounded like it.
Because they had an open relationship. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that she was upset about was that Sydney was lying to her about it.
Yep.
She's like, "Yeah, you can bang all the 20-year-olds you want. Just make sure you give me all the details."
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
She was completely fine with it. And she said that she had actually talked to Heather and that Heather was a really nice girl. And that she agreed to meet her and her children. Like, why the fuck would anybody want their kids to meet their husband's mistress?
Yeah.
That makes no sense. But she said that Heather agreed to meet with her and that everything was fine. It was like, they just welcomed her into the family. They bought her own set of Mickey Mouse ears.
Yeah. And just
said, "Yeah, we'll be sister wives." Yeah. Or some shit like that,
We'll get the t-shirt made for you for when we go to Disneyland.
Yeah.
I'll be Goofy and you'll be Pluto.
Right. And then she starts questioning Tammy about texts from her to an 18-year-old male. Okay. Now, this is like borderline predatory right here.
Yeah.
Let me read you some of these texts, okay? So this is an 18-year-old kid.
This is from Tammy to an 18-year-old.
From Tammy to an 18-year-old.
Okay.
So obviously, she's trying to get on the same level with Sydney.
Okay.
So she's stalking kids too. She's like riding around the daycares or whatever, trying to find her some kid.
Okay.
Anyway, this is nasty. But she says, "I want you, Caleb. You don't even know. I want to fuck the hell out of you."
That's sexy, Tammy.
Caleb.
Wanna fuck the shit out of
Caleb,
you?
I want
In the
you.
Waffle House parking lot. It turns me on.
So apparently she had been texting this kid and it was going on a little while. She was even sending nude pics to this kid until his mom found out about it. Because he's probably getting this shit and he's like, "Mom."
He's probably still in high school.
"Mom."
Okay, how does Tammy even look? Is she an attractive woman?
You can see pictures of Tammy. Okay, so she's not, I wouldn't say that she is bad, but I mean, I wouldn't call her necessarily ugly.
But was Heather
But
prettier?
she's scary. Well, Heather was younger,
I
like,
don't mean shit.
no, but But anyway, but she's scary. Like, this woman is just scary. And so when I was like going down my rabbit hole on like the social media post or whatever, I ran across something, and I'll post the source of it, but pretty much, and I don't know how true it is, but some lady got on Facebook and supposedly she was this 18-year-old kid's mom.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, while people are online talking about the Moores and some people are defending the Moores, she said that the way that Tammy got in touch with this kid is because his mom was on like one of those Disney travel forums.
Okay.
And somehow that's how Tammy got his name and information and started texting him. I don't know how.
That's fucking nuts.
But that's like some pedophile type shit.
So
I mean,
she
I know
barely
he's
even
like
knew the
legal,
kid.
but he's like barely legal.
So she didn't know the kid.
From what I understand, she didn't really know him. Yeah.
She just picked him out because
somehow
his
she
mom was
picked
on a
him
forum.
up and she's like, "Hey, Caleb." Anyway, so yeah, they pretty much they questioned Tammy about that. It doesn't really prove much towards the case, but it kind of proves like what kind of person she is. Well, then they ask about the text to Heather, and she completely downplays this shit. She says that when she first sent those texts that she didn't know who Heather was. They asked her if she knew that this was a 20-year-old girl. She said at the time that she didn't. And then that text that she sent, "Are you ready to meet the missus?"
Yeah.
She claims that it was just a nice text because Heather had agreed to meet her. She's like, "Hey, sweetie, are you ready to meet the missus?"
Okay.
Because everybody called her the missus up at the Tilted Kilt.
Really?
That's what she said.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so it doesn't make much sense. But when she's asked, and then she asked about the social media post, and then she's like, "So you write on your Facebook, Sydney has been cheating on me with a psycho whore." And then Tammy admits that she made that post.
Yeah.
And then she questions her about some other social media posts. And then on some point on Facebook, she says, "I think the bitch is in hiding." Nancy's Life says, like, "What makes you think that she's in hiding? And why are you putting all these posts out there if you didn't have anything to do with this girl, if you were okay with this girl?" Yeah, and him having an affair. And this is what Tammy says. She says, "Well, I guess I was just being a jerk, Nancy." And calls the prosecutor by her first name.
What a disrespectful bitch.
Right. And after that, Livesay says...
Listen, I'm pretty sure the jury already does not like her.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure nobody really likes her. But obviously, I mean, she's so narcissistic that she thinks that she's going to get over on everybody with this. And that's why she's taking the stand. I'm sure her attorneys probably tried to talk her out of it, but she's like, no, I got this. I'm Tammy.
This is like a redneck Jodi Arias.
Right, yeah, kind of. So anyway, after she calls the prosecutor by her first name, Nancy Livesay says, "Have we ever met each other outside of this courtroom?" And Tammy says, "No, I don't think so." And she says, "Oh, okay. I was just wondering when we got on a first name basis."
Oh, okay.
When they make their closing statements, and this is so cool, the prosecutor, Nancy Livesay, turns it into a whole Disney-themed closing statement.
All right.
And I'm just going to kind of paraphrase what she said. I'm not going to quote her verbatim on this. But she compared Heather Elvis to Snow White, that she was young and beautiful and innocent.
Mm-hmm.
And she compared Tammy Moore to the Wicked Queen. And she said that Tammy Moore, and of course she's speaking figuratively, but that she said that Tammy Moore would look into the magic mirror, and as long as she saw her own reflection, she was fine. But it's when she started seeing Heather's reflection that she had a problem.
Nancy girl, we need to get together sometime. I like the way you do business.
Yeah.
And we're on a first name basis. Come get on our show.
So after 3 hours of deliberation, the jury returns with a verdict, and they find Tammy Moore guilty of kidnapping and conspiracy to kidnap. And they sentence her to 30 years on each charge to be run concurrently.
Yes. Keep the bitch there. But what happened to Sydney?
Okay, so I'm getting to that. So during Tammy's trial, Sydney was actually in jail. He was already serving a prison sentence for 10 years for obstruction of justice, for lying to the police about the investigation.
Right.
So in September of 2019, his trial commences. The prosecution presents mostly the same witnesses as they did in Tammy's trial.
Yeah.
The same ones that they had before. But this time they have new video evidence. So a few days after Heather's disappearance, when they got that new video surveillance system in their home.
Yeah.
Like the first day they had it, and this is only a few days after she disappeared.
Yeah.
It shows Tammy and Sydney outside of their house. Tammy's sister Ashley and her boyfriend are there. And then they're like bringing in some groceries and stuff. And then it sees them going out to the Ford F-150, and they clean this truck for 4 hours, inside and out.
Mm-hmm.
They thoroughly clean this truck. It takes them 4 hours to do it.
Okay.
And after they clean the truck, Sydney burns all of the cleaning rags. So after they do their closing arguments in this trial, the jury only takes an hour and a half to come back with a guilty verdict.
Thank God.
And he is convicted on the same charges as Tammy. He's guilty of kidnapping, conspiracy to kidnap, and he's also sentenced to 30 years on each charge to be served concurrently.
Hi ho, hi ho, hi ho.
And I can
it's
just see-
off to prison you go.
And I can just see all the Disney characters rejoicing that Tammy Moore is not going to be there to scare the shit out of them anymore. She's not going to be making her biannual
the
trips.
Wicked witch.
Right. Ding dong, the witch is dead.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. The wicked witch is dead.
What is your favorite Disney character?
Lion King. It would definitely have to be
Simba?
Rafiki.
Oh,
Rafiki.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah.
I think my favorite is Stitch. He's kind of like me. He's a little temperamental and he eats a lot. So I've always liked him. He's cool.
Yeah.
I want to keep Tammy away from Stitch. I think Stitch was tall. Tommy's a crazy bitch.
Stitch is cute.
Anyway.
I like Stitch.
So after this, I mean, of course, the Elvis family is happy with the verdict, but at the same time, they still don't know what happened to Heather. They still don't know where she's at.
They have no
They
closure.
don't know if she's dead. And after Sydney's conviction, Heather's dad was pleading with him just to tell them where he was at or where she was at.
Bless his
Just
heart.
to let, because in the
Just
way
tell-
that Elvis,
yeah.
the way the Elvis family made it sound, and I hate when people make deals and they get off on lesser charges and avoid justice just because they're withholding information.
Yeah.
But the Elvis family almost made it seem like finding out what happened to Heather is like their top priority. It's more important than punishing these people.
They just want to know where she's at.
And I really feel like if Tammy and Sydney came forward and actually talked about what they did to Heather and where she might be,
Yeah.
that the Elvis family would probably be okay with the state working out a deal just so that they can find out what happened to their daughter.
Right.
But of course, these assholes are not coming off of it.
Because they only care about themselves.
Right.
And they don't want to give themselves more time.
Yeah.
Even though they're already going to be in there probably until they die.
Yeah. Because I guess if they did kill her, that's murder.
Yeah.
That's murder one, and that's a life
And I
sentence,
guess there
but-
might be a chance that they can come up for parole
Yeah.
at some point, and that would
so
mess
they
up their
have,
chances.
I mean, of course, they both have appealed their convictions since then. And the Heather Elvis's family is still searching for answers.
I hope they rot. They don't deserve to be Disney people. Disney
No, well, they're not Disney people anymore. Like I said, the Disney characters rejoice.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. They don't take fucking inmate trips to Disney World.
Yeah. Maybe they'll let you go pick up the trash out there, but probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
So anyway, yeah, that's the disappearance of Heather Elvis.
Well, guys, if you know anything about the Heather Elvis case, hit up the...
Horry County.
Yeah. Look them up.
Yeah.
If you know anything about this crazy bitch Tammy, this Disney-ass bitch and her bitch.
And her bitch.
And
Yeah.
her bitch
for real.
Sydney.
Well, yeah, anyway, I guess that's all we got. So hit us up on Facebook.
At www.facebook.com/TC-Down-Yonder.
Check us on Instagram at
@TC_Down-Yonder.
Twitter
At Down Crime.
Shoot us a Gmail or an email at tcdownyonder@gmail.com. Give us your opinions, your case suggestions, anything that we left out of a case. Give us your corrections.
Any
or-
updates on any cases that we cover. Also, be sure to check us out on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, and
And
give us your true crime or paranormal experience stories. We'd love
That's
to
what
hear
we
those.
want to start doing. I want to start reading paranormal
Yeah,
stories.
we'd love to do that. Anyway, so I guess that's all we got, right?
Yes. Oh, and add us
Oh.
on TikTok.
Yeah, add us on TikTok and rate us on Apple Podcasts.
Or anywhere you can rate. Yeah, just do that. Share, like, follow,
subscribe,
repeat.
Yeah, YouTube. Anyway, okay, so I guess that's it.
Yep. Don't. I don't even know what to say.
Stay away from Tammy.
Stay away from Tammy and her fucking Mickey Mouse
Keep
ears.
Tammy out of Disney World.
Disney doesn't want you, bitch.
Don't know time will come back. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.